Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to LinkedIn Live Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel Muehlman, your host, and this is Smart Impressions, where we are unlocking business relationships one connection at a time. Today's guest is no other than David Cook from Contractors Direct. Thank you for joining us today, David. Thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, did you bring your cup of coffee this morning? So I always like to tell people it's time to grab that cup of coffee. Make sure we start the day off right.
I did. I finished it. I finished it already.
It's done already.
I can see the empty cup.
Perfect. Well, I know you're a father of a couple of kids, so just like me, we've been up since drop off, right? So this can go a lot quicker. Maybe we move this even a little earlier next time. But anyway, if you're out there and you're just jumping online, we're streaming live across a number of different platforms, and we invite you to join in on the conversation. And today's conversation is about entrepreneurs' biggest challenges, because David and I go way back, and I think you came out of your mom's womb and probably being an entrepreneur. What do you say?
to be honest, I think it is definitely something that I think you maybe are not born with, but definitely having a look at wanting to solve problems from a very, very early age and wanting to earn money from a very early age, for sure, without a doubt.
Incredible. Well, I love this saying, once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. So once you find that path, you keep on coming back to it. And there's no doubt that you've been successful in a number of the businesses that you have provided solutions. So Contractors Direct being one of them. Give our audience a little overview of what that is exactly.
Yeah, sure. So Contractors Direct is an online search platform where company owners and homeowners can connect direct to pre-qualified and vetted contractors that are specific to the project criteria. So we've got pre-qualified contractors for office fit-outs, retail fit-outs, villa and apartment renovations, and it's everything from kind of the interior design aspect right the way through to the fit-out, construction, furniture supply, IT, whatever your business or your home needs. You should be able to find pre-vetted and qualified contractors through the Contractors.direct platform.
Incredible. So that's just one of the many things you get your fingers in. And I'm going to mention that you're also one of the co-founders of the NOOK over in JLT, right? Yes.
It's that was a labor of love, and I think it was very much right place, right time.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, NOOK is it's a very, very cool co-working space in JLT, in one JLT, and it's targeting the sports health and wellness sector. So we built a space that's very much supports the sports health and wellness professionals. So there's a gym, studio, as well as other, traditional co-working features like, Zoom rooms, open plan, closed cabins, meeting rooms, etc. But yeah, it was very much right place, right time. I was the original founder, a gentleman called Ravi. Have reached out to me to help him with space planning and do a feasibility study for the space. And I fell in love with the concept. And apparently there was space at the cap table. And, we made the investment. And that was almost 6 years ago, I think. Might even be 6 years ago. And
time flies.
It's fantastic. Unfortunately, our company is now too big. We don't fit in it. So, certainly for the first couple of years of Contractors Direct life, we were making full use of the NOOK facilities, even though we were a construction tech play. But unfortunately, as soon as we got to our 7th employee, we had to move out. The idea is it's kind of like an incubation space for solopreneurs and small businesses.
I don't think that's a bad problem to have, and you outgrow your space. That means one thing. It means more money, more clients, and more growth, which is always a good thing, right?
Yeah,
I can't say it's a bad thing.
Yeah. 2020, tail end of 22. 23 was very good to us, and 24 looks like it's onwards and upwards.
Great. Amazing. Well, I want to just say good morning. We got people joining on different platforms. Nella's joined already. We say good morning to Nella. We want to bring your questions across the screen so everyone has the opportunity to jump in and ask David some great questions. So David, starting with questions, I want to get right to it because as a entrepreneur, there's so many ways to get sidetracked. right? And there's so many ways to really use your focus on sales and revenue. And so, what kind of are the top priorities to start any business and sustain any business, in your opinion?
So if we're talking about very, very early stage, where someone has the idea and they believe that they could turn it into a business, there's a few fundamentals that I try to help people stand by, and I certainly encourage them to stand by. Number one, if you're having this idea, you're probably employed, which is it's a great thing to be, because you get steady income. The company's problems are the company's problems. The only thing you have to take care of is your bills when you get home. So number one, I would encourage people to stay in employment as long as they can. And whatever their dream or their idea is, at least prove the concept. So, design what the product or the service is, put it out to market. Not in work time. If you're employed, obviously be respectful, do it out of hours. So do it kind of 5:30 to 8:30 and on weekends. And just check that your theory on what the business is does actually work, and that the market is receptive. I would say that's probably the most important thing. Continue to run it as a side hustle until you start to see enough traction where work is getting in the way, where employment is getting in the way of pioneering your own ship, if that makes sense. The ideal scenario is when you do take that plunge and you move from employment to self-employment, you would have at least 6 months worth of personal overheads in savings somewhere, because everybody who is an entrepreneur that's listening to this this conversation knows that you have to get the lower your overheads, and really, really assess it. If you don't need to live in a 4-bedroom villa in Arabian ranches, move. Go to the other side of the road, go to a 2-bedroomed apartment, for example, in Town Square, halve your rent, halve your overheads. Because running a business here, whilst there are, massive tax benefits compared to Europe and the US, it's very, very expensive. And it's very unforgiving. So if you start missing payments on trade licenses or, visas, or you don't have enough money for medical insurance for your staff, you need to be able to, weather that storm. And, someone said to me that, the journey of an entrepreneur, you have to get used to being cash poor. And the simple reason is it's not that you don't have the money, but the money has to be prioritized to actually growing the business and doing things so that you can continue to get ahead. Just like people invest in savings accounts. Rather than putting it in a savings account when business starts to pick up, you're reinvesting back in the business, and hopefully that will return great dividends, and ultimately it will compound. So number one, don't jump ship until you're absolutely certain and the market has responded positively to your product or service. Number two, make sure you've definitely got the money. Number three, when I say got the money, got the that buffer. Number three, reevaluate your your personal overheads. Can you do anything to bring them down? Because when the poop hits the fan, just like COVID, it can happen overnight and it'll come like a hurricane, and you need to be able to weather that storm. And just addressing those two things is the difference between being able to cover your overheads for 3 months and possibly cover your overheads for 12 months. And if you can get through to the other side, then that's where the sun shines and there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
I like that, the pot of gold. So let's talk about the pot of gold, because I think, and I can't thank you enough for just sharing the precautions you got to make sure are, basically that foundation, that backup plan, just in case things go awry. But once you're in the nitty gritty, the day-to-day, the operations, the HR, the management, where should be the priorities once you're inside and up and running, or at least even if it's a side gig, where should you be focusing?
So for me, and this is just my opinion based on experience, I have always, where possible, held off hiring new people. My signature on my email, it's a bit tongue in cheek, but it's CEO, Chief Everything Officer, and anybody who's been part of a startup and now a scale up realizes that it's not binary. It's not, this isn't your role and you stay in this sandbox. You have to be multifaceted. You don't have to be great at everything, but you have to be multifaceted and willing to pick up other roles and responsibilities from other designations, shall we say. So being able to, when you have that core team, or if it's just yourself, look at things like, Fiverr, or there's another one, Upstart, is it? Or something like that. So, if you need graphic design work, don't hire a graphic designer straight away. Aspire to eventually have a full-time graphic designer and content creator, but go to Fiverr and see, are there any great people there that don't require a visa, don't require medical, don't require all the other stuff that goes with it. It just allows you to be incredibly lean. Obviously, people still take sick days and holidays as well. So you have that flexibility or the continuity to be able to outsource all of these things on a project basis and have them delivered. So keep your overheads down as much as you can. And also try to avoid hiring people in country for as long as you can. Which then actually brings me on to my next point, your founding team. So the ideal scenario is that you aren't the one to start the business. You're the one to join a business that has already proven concept and has started making money. Because then your risk has been somewhat mitigated. But obviously it should be within an industry that you love. Otherwise, you'll lose the passion for it and you'll feel the pain of everything. But if you're number 3 or number 4, and you can come up with some kind of package with whoever the current founders are, and you say, hey, listen, I know I missed out on the first 2 years. You guys have already done an awful lot of work. How about either I buy in at a nominal amount, or I get shares over a 3 to 5 year period, on kind of like a vesting schedule. That's the ideal scenario. Now, it's very, very rare that happens. But if you are the initial, numero uno founder, picking your co-founders and your core team is vital. Because there's a lot of mediocre people in the UAE. There's a lot of mediocre people everywhere.
On the planet. Let's say, just be real, on the planet.
Exactly.
But it's hard to find good people.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And, it's a fine balance because, you want to bring someone in, number one, who's complementary to your skill set. Number 2, who questions everything you do because they want to learn, but also they want to try and understand, why are we doing this? Help me understand, because, if you bring someone on board who just says yes to everything you do, there's no real
connection.
And resistance. So the very little research you've done and data that says yes, we should go in this direction. Just a bit of questioning and another opinion, or I just think it works well. But if you can find someone who's not massively motivated by money and salary, who is motivated by business ownership, who would like to, if they can afford to buy into the business, great, you've got some capital. If they can't, they're motivated, by the long-term, benefits, but they have to be exceptional. Not someone who kind of fits the mold. Someone who, when you sit with them, there's chemistry, you vibe, and it's just like, holy smokes, you're the yin to my yang. I'm the round peg, you're the round hole, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you'll know, your gut tells you a lot, and if you're sat opposite someone who you think is a good fit, and your gut is like, I'm just not sure, then the answer is no. It has to be, you sit opposite that person, and it's almost like dating. So when you're dating somebody for the first time, you get on like a house on fire, and if things are going well, then you go for the next date and the next date and the next date. So there has to be kind of like a trial period, but it's only really when the pressure is on and the bank balance is down to as close to zero as it can be, or zero, and things aren't going well, that then you realize, holy smokes, I've married someone who isn't a good fit for me, or who isn't a good fit for the business. And then obviously you then got to try and figure out how to get them out, or whatever it is. So finding the right co-founders who can contribute to the vision and who can contribute something complementary to what you've got, who aren't money hungry, but they are very motivated by the success of the business and also the benefits at the back end.
Well,
that's super important.
So just so I hear you straight, you prioritize people in the organization that you're working with to build the organization before customers and the bottom line that you're going to earn to keep it sustainable. And so I think both parties and both priorities basically all about human connections, because you got to find that right fit. I just thought of this business idea, because I'm sitting here brainstorming all day, every day. But imagine a world where before you get into business with people, there was kind of a coach to walk you through if this was the right, sort of like a relationship coach, sort of like, a family therapist kind of thing. I hate to use that term, but, someone who just kind of checks the box. Does this work? Do I match my values? Do I match the motivation that you have? And really make, proactively kind of make those a little bit supporting questions for you to consider before you actually jump in to bed with them.
Yeah.
But you won't believe it. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's 17 minutes. So we went over by 2 minutes already.
Smokes. We've only scratched the surface.
We didn't even tip it. We just tiny tapped it. But it goes by so quick, these 15 minutes. It's just to get you excited and start conversations going. And I really thank you so much, David, because, I think the people, it's all about the people, 100%. And that's a theme. So you're surrounded by people, you got the community of people, you're helping people, by vetting people, you can't get away from these people. So let's leave our audience with 3 top tips that they can walk away with today and really consider or implement tomorrow about when they choose and make those decisions to really drive their sales, drive their business, and drive their human connections effectively in their organization. What do you got?
Top tips. So depending on obviously where they are in their business, let's assume that they've got the MVP concept has been proven, and now it's just about sales. Number one, I would say use where you can Google if your cost of acquisition is low and the profit per sale is moderate, because Google gives you a lot of information. And it's live, immediate feedback. Google has been great for us. So understanding which marketing channels require the least amount of investment for the biggest return, and have that data backed. So backed with data. So that would be the first thing. Number 2, stick to one product or service, so that you become renowned as you are the go-to guys for that product or service. Doesn't mean that you can't introduce other products later. By all means, feel free to do so. But if people are coming to you because they believe that you are the go-to person for X, whatever that is, you'll get the opportunity to cross-sell or upsell your other services and products anyway. If you start with 3 or 4, then your Google budget is just going to quadruple, because now you're going after 4 different products and trying to attract 4 different audiences. So marketing, product. Number 3, I would say try to refrain from vanity marketing. So vanity marketing would be things like, billboard advertising. So billboard advertising, it's great for brand awareness. There's definitely merit to it. The challenge that billboard advertising has is that it becomes very, very difficult to understand how much of the inquiries or revenue can you directly attribute to that billboard or that billboard or that billboard, whatever it is. I think you'd have to shut all of the other marketing channels off, put all the billboards up in order to understand what that impact is. Vanity. And, radio was great for us, by the way. But radio, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars a month. And if you have a if you're relying on high volume, low margin, it's probably unlikely, highly unlikely, I would go with, that investment where you're spending tens of thousands of dollars on radio, it's highly unlikely that will return a profit. But if you've got your Google set up and you've now got more money than you know what to do with, the vanity advertising and the brand awareness campaigns are fantastic, but they should be last. So marketing, focus on one product and cross-sell, and number 2, stay away from vanity advertising.
Incredible. Well, there's the top tips for entrepreneurs, marketing departments, business owners to consider and implement immediately to make the most bang for their buck. I mean, it's all about revenue, driving revenue, and getting that stickiness with not only the outside customers, but really the people inside your organization so they can stick around and really be aligned the best to your vision to really stay motivated, right? For deliverables.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Cool. Well, David Cook, killing it in the UAE. Love it. So if you got any fit outs that need a little pre-clarification and curated professionalism, David Cook's your boy. Get over to the NOOK and JLT and ensure that you can connect with the health professionals that are there working and really striving these community developments, because strategic collaborations is where it is to save those marketing funds. So I wish you the best. That's it for the Smart Impressions today. Thank you.
It's been awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, David, for joining us today. Again, I'm Rachel Muleman, Smart Impressions. We're sponsored by Dripify. It's that automated platform. So if you're using anything on Sales Navigator to link to new customers, make sure you check out automation tools. Online technology is driving the way forward to our future. We are here, we're living it, and ensure to engage us. So I'll see you next week. Have a great day, everyone. David, kill it in Saudi. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.